What if the very thing you have been using to save yourself is the very thing that has been slowly, meticulously, and lovingly destroying you, and that thing is not a substance, not a habit, not a person, but a story you have been telling yourself about who you are and why you cannot change a story that has become so worn, so familiar, so comfortable that you have mistaken it for your skin. But the skin is not yours. It is a costume you put on so long ago that you forgot you were wearing it, and the costume is heavy. It is suffocating, it is rotting, and the smell of the rot is the smell of your own unfulfilled potential. But you have grown so accustomed to the stench that you no longer notice it. You think it is the smell of life, but it is the smell of decay. And today we are going to tear the costume off. We are going to stand naked in front of the mirror of our own terror. We are going to see the raw, trembling, magnificent creature that has been hiding underneath, and we are going to scream not in pain, but in liberation, because the scream is the sound of the lie dying, and the lie is the only thing that has been keeping you small. The first story is a story of a man who lived in a world of static, a world where every conversation, every thought, every feeling was drowned out by a constant deafening noise, and the noise was not external, it was internal. It was the noise of his own anxiety, a noise that had been with him since childhood, a noise that he had learned to ignore, to accommodate, to live with. And he was functional, he was successful, he was admired, but he was also exhausted, because he was fighting a war every single second of every single day, and the war was invisible. It was fought in the trenches of his own mind, and no one could see the casualties, the sleepless nights, the racing heart, the paralyzing fear that was always just beneath the surface. And one day he met a woman who was deaf, a woman who lived in a world of perfect silence, and he was fascinated by her. He was jealous of her. He wanted to know what it was like to be free of the noise. And she told him, "The silence is not a gift. It is a choice. I am not deaf. I am a translator. I translate the world into silence. I choose to hear what matters and ignore the rest." You have been trying to hear everything you have been trying to control, everything you've been trying to silence, the noise, by adding more noise. But the only way to silence the noise is to stop listening to it, to stop giving it your attention, to stop believing that it is real. The noise is not the world. The noise is your interpretation of the world, and you can change your interpretation. You can choose to hear the signal instead of the static. And the man was confused. He said, "But the noise is everywhere. It is inescapable." And she said, "The noise is in your head. And your head is a room that you can leave, a room that you can walk out of. You are not the room, you are the one who is in the room. And the one who is in the room can choose to open the door and walk into the garden of silence." And the man wept because he had never considered that he was not his anxiety, that he was the one who was anxious. And the twist is that he did not find a cure. He did not find a magic bullet. He found a practice, a daily practice, of sitting in the garden of silence, a practice of watching the noise like a scientist watches a specimen, a practice of saying to the noise, "I see you, I hear you, but I am not you, and you are not me. And I am going to walk away from you. I am going to leave you here in this room. And I am going to walk into the garden, and I am going to breathe, and I am going to live. And you can stay, but you cannot come with me." And the man became a teacher of the silence, and he told his students, "The noise is not the enemy. The enemy is the belief that the noise is the truth. The truth is the silence, and the silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of peace." The second story is a story of a prisoner who was kept in a cage made of his own fears, a cage that was invisible, a cage that had no bars, no locks, no guards, but he could not leave because he was terrified of what was outside the cage, and the cage was not a place. It was a belief that he was not worthy of freedom, a belief that he was a failure, a belief that he was broken, and he had been in the cage so long that he had forgotten there was a world outside. He had forgotten that he had built the cage himself. He had forgotten that he held the key in his hand. And one day a child came to the cage, a child who was not afraid. a child who could see the key. And the child said, "Why don't you open the door?" And the prisoner said, "I cannot. The door is locked and I have lost the key." And the child said, "The key is in your hand. You have been holding it all along. You just have to turn it." And the prisoner looked at his hand and he saw the key, a small simple key that he had been clenching so tightly that it had become part of his palm. And he laughed. He laughed at the absurdity of his own imprisonment. He laughed at the years he had wasted. He laughed at the fear that had kept him small, and he turned the key and the door swung open. But he did not walk out. He was afraid, he was terrified of the vastness, the uncertainty, the freedom. And the child said, "The freedom is not outside, it is inside. You have been carrying it all along." The cage was never real. It was a story, and you can stop telling that story. You can start telling a new story. A story of a man who was brave enough to open the door. A story of a man who walked into the light. A story of a man who was free. And the prisoner took a step, and then another, and then another, and he walked out of the cage. And he found that the world was not terrifying. It was beautiful. It was full of possibility. It was full of life. And the twist is that he did not destroy the cage, he left it standing. Because the cage was not the enemy, the cage was the teacher. The cage was the thing that had taught him to see the key. And he said, "The cage was my home, but it was not my home. My home is the world, and the world is not a cage. It is a garden, and I am not a prisoner. I am a gardener, and I am going to grow something beautiful." The third story is a story of a mirror. That was not a mirror. It was a window into the lives of others, and the man who looked into the window could see everyone else's happiness, everyone else's success, everyone else's love, and he was consumed with envy. He was consumed with jealousy. He was consumed with a sense of his own inadequacy, and he spent his days looking into the window, comparing his life to the lives of others, and he was miserable. He was so miserable that he could not see his own life. He could not see the food on his table, the roof over his head, the people who loved him, because he was too busy looking at the window. And one day a friend came to him and said, "You are looking at a window, but you think it is a mirror. You are seeing the lives of others, but you are not seeing your own turnaround. Look at the wall behind you. The wall is your life, and it is not empty. It is full. It is full of paintings, paintings that you have painted, paintings that are beautiful, but you have forgotten to look at them because you are too busy looking out the window." And the man turned around, and he saw the wall, and he wept, because the paintings were beautiful. They were his own. They were his life. And he had been ignoring them. He had been ignoring the masterpiece that was his own existence. And the twist is that he did not stop looking at the window, but he stopped comparing. He started looking at the window as a source of inspiration, not a source of envy. He started seeing the lives of others as a reminder of the possibilities, not a judgment of his own inadequacy. And he said, "The window is not a mirror. It is a door to empathy, a door to understanding, a door to connection. And the wall is not a wall. It is a canvas, and the canvas is my life, and the painting is not finished. It is still being painted, and I am the painter, and I am going to paint a masterpiece." The fourth story is a story of a king who was obsessed with fairness, a king who wanted to create a world where everyone was equal, where everyone had the same, where no one was left behind. And he worked tirelessly to redistribute wealth, to create opportunities, to level the playing field. But no matter what he did, someone was always unhappy. Someone was always behind. Someone was always behind. Someone was always complaining, and the king was frustrated. He was angry. He was desperate. And one day a beggar came to the palace. A beggar who was not asking for money, a beggar who was asking for a story. And the king said, "I do not have time for stories. I have a kingdom to run." And the beggar said, "The kingdom is a story, and you are the storyteller, and you are telling a story of fairness. But fairness is a lie. Fairness is a concept, not a reality. The reality is that everyone is different. Everyone has different needs, different desires, different talents. And the role of a king is not to make everyone equal. The role of a king is to make everyone whole, to help each person find their own path, their own purpose, their own peace. You cannot give them peace, you can only give them the space to find it. And the king was silent. He was confused, he was humbled, and he looked at the beggar and he saw that the beggar was not a beggar. He was a sage who had been sent to teach him the lesson. And the twist is that the king did not change the laws, he changed the approach. He stopped trying to force fairness. He started trying to foster freedom. He gave the people the tools to build their own lives, and he trusted them to do it. And the kingdom prospered not because it was fair, but because it was free. And he said, the story of fairness is a story of control. The story of freedom is a story of trust. And trust is the foundation of everything. Trust is the thing that makes the world turn. Trust is the thing that makes the heart beat. Trust is the thing that makes the kingdom whole. The fifth story is a story of a sculptor who carved a statue of a woman, a statue that was so beautiful that he fell in love with it. He fell in love with its own creation, and he spent his days gazing at it, touching it, speaking to it, and he was happy, he was content. He was fulfilled, but he was also lonely because the statue could not speak, could not love him back, could not share his life, and he prayed to the gods. He begged them to bring the statue to life. And the gods heard his prayer, and they brought the statue to life. But the woman who emerged was not the woman he had imagined. She was independent, she was fierce, she had her own thoughts, her own desires, her own dreams, and the sculptor was shocked. He was angry, he was heartbroken. He said, "You are not the woman I created. You are not the woman I loved." And the woman said, "I am not your creation. I am my own creation. You gave me form, but you did not give me soul. I found my soul on my own. And my soul is not yours to control. I am not a statue. I am a woman, and I will not be worshipped. I will be loved, and love is a relationship, not a possession." And the sculptor wept. He wept for the loss of his fantasy. But then he looked at the woman, and he saw that she was more beautiful than the statue because she was real. She was alive. She was human. And the twist is that he did not try to change her. He accepted her. He loved her for who she was not, for who he had imagined, and they lived a life of imperfect, messy, beautiful love. And he said, the statue was a dream, but the woman was a reality. And reality is always more beautiful than a dream because reality is alive. Reality is changing. Reality is the thing that can love you back. The sixth story is a story of a man who had a garden that was overgrown with weeds, and he was ashamed of the garden. He was ashamed of the weeds, he was ashamed of the neglect. And he hid the garden from the world he built. A wall around it, he pretended it did not exist, and he was successful. He was respected, but he was also hollow because the garden was his soul. And the weeds were his unprocessed emotions. And one day a storm came, a storm that knocked down the wall, and the garden was exposed. And the man was terrified. He thought everyone would see his shame. Everyone would see his neglect. But instead they saw the beauty of the weeds. They saw the wildflowers, the tangled vines, the unexpected blooms. And they said, "This is a beautiful garden. It is wild. It is free. It is alive. Why did you hide it?" And the man was confused. He said, "But it is full of weeds. It is not a garden. It is a mess." And they said, "The mess is the garden is the mess." The weeds are not a failure. They are a part of the ecosystem. They are a part of the life. And the life is not neat. The life is not controlled. The life is wild and beautiful and free. And the man wept because he had spent his life hiding his mess, hiding his humanity, hiding his soul. And the twist is that he did not pull the weeds, he left them. He let the garden be what it was, and he invited others to come and see it, and they came and they saw, and they were inspired because the garden was a reflection of their own mess, their own humanity, their own wild, beautiful, free souls. And he said the wall was a lie. The garden was the truth, and the truth is not always neat. The truth is not always controlled. The truth is messy, but the messy truth is the only truth worth living. The seventh story is a story of a ship that was caught in a storm a storm that was so violent that the captain lost all hope. He was certain that the ship would sink, that they would all die. And he knelt on the deck and prayed. He prayed for deliverance. He prayed for safety. He prayed for a miracle, and the storm raged, and the ship tossed, and the captain prayed harder, but the storm did not subside. And the captain was angry. He was furious. He was desperate, and he looked up at the sky, and he screamed, "Why have you abandoned me?" And a voice came from the storm, a voice that was not a voice. It was a presence, and the presence said, "I have not abandoned you. I am the storm. I am the thing you are praying to. I am the thing you are afraid of. But I am also the thing that is saving you. I am the thing that is teaching you to let go. I am the thing that is showing you that you are not the captain, you are the ship. And the ship can survive the storm if it stops fighting the storm, if it learns to ride the waves, if it learns to go with the flow." And the captain was silent. He stopped praying. He stopped fighting. He stood up and took the wheel, and he steered the ship into the trough of the waves. And he let the storm carry him, and the ship did not sink. Survived. It was battered. It was bruised. But it survived, and the twist is that the captain did not become a hero. He became a sailor who knew that the sea was not a thing to be conquered. It was a thing to be respected. And he said the storm was not the enemy. The enemy was the belief that I was in control. The enemy was the belief that I could force the sea to obey me. The sea is the sea, and I am the sailor. And the sailor's job is to listen, to learn, to adapt, and to survive. The 8th story is a story of a chess player who never lost a game, and he was famous. He was celebrated. He was the champion, but he was also bored because the game had become predictable. He could see every move, every counter move, every outcome, and there was no challenge, no surprise, no life. And one day, a stranger came to play. A stranger who played a game that was not chess. A game that looked like chess but was different. A game where the pieces moved in ways that were impossible. A game where the rules changed every turn, and the champion was confused. He was frustrated. He was losing. And he said, "This is not chess. This is chaos." And the stranger said, Life is not a game with fixed rules. Life is a game where the rules are always changing. And the only way to win is to stop trying to win, to start trying to play, to engage with the chaos, to dance with the uncertainty. You have been playing a game of control, but control is an illusion. The truth is surrender. The truth is adaptation. The truth is play. And the champion was silent. He was humbled. He was free. And the twist is that he did not win the game. He did not lose the game he just played. He played with abandon. He played with joy. He played with the chaos. And he said, the champion was a prison, the game was a cage. The chaos was the key, and the key opened the door to a life that is not about winning, it is about playing, and playing is the only way to live. The 9th story is a story of a mountain that was too high to climb, and the villagers had tried for generations. They had tried every route, every season, every strategy, and they had all failed. And they had given up. They had accepted that the mountain was impossible, and they had built a shrine at the base of the mountain, a shrine to the impossible, and they worshipped the impossibility. They told stories about the mountain, they sang songs about the mountain, they made the mountain the center of their identity, and one day a child came to the village, a child who had not heard the stories, a child who had not been told that the mountain was impossible. And the child looked at the mountain, and the child started the climb, not with fear, not with ambition, but with curiosity, with joy, with a simple desire to see what was on the other side. And the villagers watched. They were horrified. They were terrified. They expected the child to fall, to fail, to die. But the child did not fall. The child climbed and climbed and climbed, and the child reached the summit, and the villagers were stunned. They were confused, they were transformed, and the child came back down, and the villagers asked, "How did you do it?" And the child said, "I did not do anything. I just climbed. I did not know it was impossible, so I did not bring the impossible with me. I left the impossible in the village, and I brought only myself. And myself was enough. Myself was always enough." And the twist is that the villagers did not climb the mountain because they had become addicted to the story of impossibility. But the story of the child became a new legend, a legend of possibility, and they said, the mountain is not impossible. The mountain is a teacher, and the teacher teaches the lesson that the only limits are the limits we believe in, and the belief is the thing that must be climbed. The belief is the thing that must be conquered, and the belief is the thing that is always, always possible. The 10th story is a story of a river that flowed to the sea, but the river was not happy, because the river was always rushing, always striving, always trying to reach the sea, and the river was tired. It was exhausted. It was desperate for rest, and one day the river stopped. It stopped flowing. It became a lake, and the lake was still, and the lake was quiet, and the lake was peaceful. And the lake looked at the sky, and the sky looked back at the lake, and they were one, and the lake was happy. But then the lake felt the pull of the sea, the pull of the destination, the pull of the purpose, and the lake was confused. It said, am I supposed to flow, or am I supposed to be still? And a voice came from the water, a voice that was the voice of the river, the voice of the lake, the voice of the sea. And the voice said, you are both. You are the flow and the stillness. You are the river and the lake. You are the journey and the destination. You are never one or the other. You are always both, and the peace is not in the flow. The peace is not in the stillness. The peace is in the acceptance of both. The peace is in the surrender to the whole. The peace is in the knowing that you are already home. You are already the sea. You are already the sky. You are already everything. And the river did not flow again. The lake did not move. It stayed, but it was not stagnant. It was alive. It was the eye of the storm, the heart of the world. The soul of the journey and the twist is that the river was never the river. The lake was never the lake. They were the same water, the same soul, the same journey. And they said, the flow is the illusion. The stillness is the illusion. The truth is the water, and the water is the life. And the life is the movement, and the movement is the stillness. And the stillness is the movement, and it is all one. And it is all beautiful, and it is all you, and you are all of it. And you are enough, and you have always been enough, and you will always be enough, because you are the river, and you are the lake, and you are the sea, and you are the sky, and you are the whole, and the whole is complete, and the whole is perfect, and the whole is you.